Let's see. Okay. What's up?
Howdy
What's
there.
up? How we
What's
doing,
up, my
Gray?
brother? I'm doing well. Oh, and what do we have? We have Derek there too?
We do.
Everybody here at the same time?
I know it's
Right.
gonna snow.
It is. It is. And we looking
Well,
at Derek's
I
couch.
think we're
You are,
looking at
because
pillows.
I was just looking at Andre. He had just walked off, so I said I got time. And right when I walked away, that's when everybody wants to come back, and I'm like, this is one of my studios, my couch,
Oh, your
right here in
studio.
London. The couch, the studio space I got. It's amazing.
I love it.
Hey,
I
Yanni,
love
I
it.
see you there.
So, what is up, guys? It's been a while. We missed well, I missed an episode. Did we miss 2 weeks?
We
Or
missed
Uh,
one.
we missed
just the
one
one.
week. I missed
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Mm. Well, you didn't really miss because you still came in and visited us. So I mean, you visited us from
Yeah.
abroad.
Yes, I was in Dominica, and I'll tell you, it is a magical place. It is my favorite place in the world right now.
Wow.
I've been to a decent number of places, but I'm telling you, Dominica is a magical place.
Well,
Like,
sign me up. I'm down. I want to go.
well, next year we're doing the trip again next year. So it's a farm tour in Dominica. Free Up Farms. You can go on their page on Instagram and check them out. Send them a message. Let them know you want to be part of the farm tour. Tell them Andrethefarmer sent you. I'll probably be organizing it again,
Yeah.
but we are definitely going to do it again. It was such a great time.
See, and that's good because if we start now, this is a good time to start saving up for it. Because, I mean, a lot of folks don't have that disposable cash, so we can
Right.
start saving up for it now. But I would love to go. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is a little expensive, but they are thinking about doing sort of like an early bird special where if you sign up, like 6 months in advance, you get a discount. And that also gives you time to maybe put a little bit down, and you can even make monthly payments on it to get to the point where you can go.
Hey, I love that. I love some early bird special.
Yeah,
I'm at
but
that age now where I'll take some early bird.
but it'll change your whole perspective on things, man. I'll tell you, I've never seen so much food grow so freely everywhere on the island. It's like a culture of good food. Like you can't go 100 yards on a road without a mango tree being there.
Wow.
In between that, there's a guava, there's a sour sop, there's a noni fruit, it's just insane, insane.
Wow. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. So
And now you started putting the videos up of that whole trip on your YouTube channel, right? So if
yes,
somebody
the
wants to go and see it,
entire thing
they
is
can
on
go
YouTube.
right to at Andre the Farmer on YouTube and they can see the whole thing, right?
Yeah. So when I first started editing, I had all this footage. It was like I'm using CapCut because that's like the only app I know how to use. And so I'm going through it, and it's like 300 and something minutes. And
Wow.
I'm like, how can I narrow this down? I narrowed it down to 140 minutes. So I had to make a 4-part series, 4 videos. But it was just so much material I didn't want to cut because I want you to experience everything that I experienced. And even still, I had to cut a ton out.
Wow.
But it's just a magical place. That's all I can say. It's a magical place.
Sounds like it.
I'm thinking about retiring in Dominica now at this point.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no more Mexico, huh?
Maybe I'm gonna do a little part time. I don't know. We'll see. I got big dreams. Big dreams.
Right on. Right on, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with dreaming. I love it. I love it. That's what makes the world go round.
Yes,
And
sir.
Derek,
Yes,
what have
sir.
you been up to, my brother?
Well, I have been really recuperating and relaxing. One of my dear friends who used to join us up here passed suddenly a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Um, she would answer a lot of y'all's questions. Her profile name was like P Fresh. Her name was Josie. I could never pronounce. I never knew. I think she told me once, but I got a bad memory. What that meant. It was like a bunch of consonants and letters. I was like, "What is this? Did you just like play Scrabble one day and was like, this is it?" But she passed, so I'm a little getting over that. But outside of that, in addition to recovering from that grief, I'm going to the South Atlantic Plant Show this Saturday. If y'all are in the Atlanta area, be out there. You'll be able to see me. I'm going to wear something planty. It's going to be a short set. I'm going to look very delicious. Those of you who want to give me a hug, don't. I'm just messing. You could. But I had to, subvert their expectations. But that's really the most thing going on with me. And I was just, making some stuff for the class that's happening.
Mhm. No, yeah, I'm sorry for your loss because she was actually a great contributor to the podcast, and I'm ready
Yes.
to hear about her. Us losing her.
So
I had a question in the comments. Somebody asked about my hat. My hat, I believe, it is made out of straw. My
Ooh,
straw hat, yes. It has a wire in it, so someone's asking about the hat. So yes, straw
it's
hat.
nice. It's
I
nice.
love the hats that you be wearing, man. You be blessing me.
Thank you, sir.
Gina said it's okay to look
It
delicious.
is always okay to look delicious because look, I can't help it. That's why they call me the chocolate botanist because I taste good. But this is great, gentlemen. I am just so happy to be back here with us together.
Right,
I
bring
I
Yes.
just I love this.
the
I know. I missed
trio.
it. I missed it. I really wanted to hope. I was hoping that I had an open space of time when I was in Dominica where I could just get in a quiet place and just do this, but it just was too much stuff. So all I could do was say hi. But I appreciate you guys soldiering on without me. I'm
Right
sure
on,
it was
It
an
was
awesome
hard.
show.
right on. And yeah, I'm wondering what he's drinking over there too. It does look like some yak or some brandy. So like, chill, brother. Cheer.
I'll tell you what it is. This is ginger wine that
Ginger wine.
I got in Dominica. It's actually Jamaican
Ooh.
ginger wine, and it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. Yes, it's really.
Hypothetically, because we're not gonna say if you got that customs or not, right?
Oh no, you can,
Oh,
you get it through
okay,
customs. Yeah,
right.
you can make it. So I got some nice Dominican rum, and I got a bottle of this. I've never tried ginger wine before, but I'll tell you what, I
Mm,
like it. It's really good.
That sounds good.
It's really good.
And I
mm.
just want to let everybody know who's watching. If you're noticing something's up with my face, I haven't done a lot of videos with my face lately because I'm having some slight facial paralysis. So I'm actually smiling at you. I'm not smirking at you guys. So if you're wondering, like, what's going on with Gray? I'm just having some issues going on, but I'm working it out, and I appreciate everybody's concern. So I just want to let you guys know that right off the top.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not noticeable. Like it's
Yeah,
not noticeable at all.
I don't miss a thing.
Thank you. Good. I appreciate that because
I
I'm like, what the face?
because you told me about it, so I was looking for it, and it looks like it's getting better because I might not see much at all.
Yeah, I can smile a little bit better now. So, that makes you feel good.
Yes,
But now,
yes.
aren't we supposed to be talking about some small space growing? Because, I know, Andre, with you do a lot of big time growing. I do a lot of big time growing. I think we need to focus on some small space growing, because I feel like those people kind of get left out a lot of times.
I definitely agree with you. I
Yeah.
gotta tell you guys about one more thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Go
Tell
for
us.
it. Tell
One more
us.
thing, all right? Like Columbo. One more thing. Um, I just got back from a 44-hour fishing trip. I was 90 miles offshore from Friday till Sunday. I was able to bring my brother and my nephew and another nephew and my son, and it was amazing. We had 20 guys on this trip. Um, we caught so much snapper. It was insane. It was an awesome trip. We got huge red snappers. We got mango snappers, vermilion snappers, lane snappers. Got a couple grouper. It was just a spectacular trip. The boat's called the Gulf Star. It's out of Tarpon Springs. You guys want to go on that trip? I highly recommend. If you love fishing, that's the trip for you. That's it. All right. Talk about plants.
Yes, plants. Well, I just want to say y'all got such beautiful yards, right? Because when you look at all the land that Andre has, he got about 50 acres. It blesses me
1 acre.
that he's
One
being real
acre.
modest, y'all. He
I'm
has
on one
about
acre. I have a
57.
1 acre lot.
I looked it up on the internet. The internet don't lie. It said he has about 52 acres, right? And Gray is right up there with 47. And I am sitting here living on a 15th of a thousandth of an acre. Y'all do the math yourselves. I'm in an apartment. I can only do so much, right? So when it comes to all of you, those of you who are growing in a container garden, you're growing in an urban environment or on a patio, I want you to comment below to do that. For those of you who say I got land, but I still want to do a little extra, still comment below what you're doing. And for everybody, I need y'all to share this out because we are giving free 99 information today about growing in small spaces. Again, it's something that we all do because all of us don't have the ability, for whatever reason, financial, maybe you just don't want land, right, to be able to grow on acreage and acreage, right? You may have your bayside balcony garden or your palatial patio of plants like I do, right? But we are going to chat about it today. So whatever questions, comments, or concerns you have, bring that up as I bring up our first sponsor today, which is Retain, right? And we are talking about this phenomenal product. Retain is going to be good for you, especially those of you who are taking care of your gardens, big or small, because it cleans, it lubricates, it stops rust, and it sanitizes. And last time I met something that could do all of that was a story I'm gonna tell about another day, late night. When it comes to this product, this is what you need. Retain works like a dream. Your garden tools are beneficial for the life of your plants. If they're rusty and dirty, your plants are going to be looking at you like who done it and why. So today, go to Retain right here. Okay, screenshot this, look at it in the future, and make sure you get you some Retain today. So my question for you two gentlemen is, I know y'all got, again, about a good 200 acres between the two of you, but when it comes to that, y'all have experience, I'm sure, growing on somebody's patio or in a small space, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned, because you know not everybody that grows in condos and apartments is because they can't afford it. Some people think about it from this side of point of view. They just don't want the maintenance of having a home. And you know what? As
Mm-hmm.
long as I've had my multiple houses, I'm not mad at that logic, because I mean everything breaks in a house. Whether on a condo, in an apartment setting, you got some guy that's going to take care of that stuff for you. I wish I
You
had
do.
that guy, because I'm getting too old to be doing all this stuff myself. But yes, I've grown on containers. I know Andre's grown in containers on patios and such. So yes, we right there with you,
Well,
brother.
We
and I'll
love
tell
that
you
y'all are
another
right there
reason
with me.
why people grow in containers. There's certain things that I grow in containers because they don't do well in my soil. So it's a lot easier for me to control the pH of the soil in a container sometimes. Sometimes I don't have to deal with root nematodes in the soil as well. So, or just I just feel like I don't want to amend this whole area of soil. Let me do it in a container and do it in a container that's going to have the perfect soil that I want. So
That's
there are reasons to grow in containers in small spaces, even if you have 52,000 acres like I have.
right on. Yeah. Well, that's
Exactly.
like me in my environment, right? I'm out here in North Texas. I'm in the Dallas area. All the citrus I grow, I can't keep that out there during the winter. My moringa, my citrus, I have to keep them in containers, and then I bring them in my plant room or my greenhouse. So I'm a container grower too.
Right? And you can grow massive fruit trees in your house if you have enough light or grow lights. Like I've seen people with like 15-foot tall mango trees in their front foyer, it's in a pot.
Exactly. So when you are growing your plants, you want to have a couple of considerations. He says, knocking stuff down behind him. I decided to come out here and risk this heat to show y'all my patio, right? To show you all what I am growing and how you can grow. Now, granted, I'm growing this many things because I am a freaking show off. And I want my patio to be the best in the world. Yours can look like however you want it to. You're only in competition with yourself. So when it comes to growing, there's a couple of considerations you want to have. Before I go into those considerations, we had two questions, okay, that I've seen at least. One question was something to the effect of, what is the best fertilizer to use for your tomatoes in a large pot? For you two, what fertilizer, we can say brands if we want to, but what fertilizers have you used in large pots? Or just for your tomatoes in general?
Um, I actually there's one brand that I've been using. Well, one for I will on occasion I will use like Alaskan fish fertilizer,
Mm-hmm.
that 511 fish emulsion, but I don't use it too much because sometimes it can add too much nitrogen to tomatoes, and too much nitrogen will make a lot of foliage and not a lot of fruit, and then plus it brings in a lot of pests. But there's another fertilizer I use that's actually from Walmart. It's called Expert Gardener,
I've
and it's just a
seen those.
tomato. Yeah, it's a tomato fertilizer. It does really well.
What about you, Andre? What you be using for your tomatoes?
You know what? I am not really brand specific or even like type of fertilizer specific. To be honest, I usually use what people send me for free. so so one time it might be fish emulsion, the next time it's worm castings, the next time it's some organic blah blah blah. So I kind of try to just use the stuff that people send me to try. But fish emulsion's probably my main go-to, and you're gonna love this one. But Epsom salt. I do the Epsom salt.
I love it. He's made it his goal to bring up Epsom salts every other week. When it comes to that, I do love a good Epsom salt. But I will use myself. There's and I use this for all my plants. Arbor, Arber, has a liquid concentrate, and they have an outdoor granular that I've used. In addition to Espoma has Biotone, and I think they have a tomato-based like fertilizer. And there's another one I use. I can't remember the brand of it. It might be Espoma too. That's also a tomato-based fertilizer. For those of you who are like, I just need one, you get one for tomatoes specifically. It'll have like extra calcium because tomatoes, bell peppers, things in the nightshade family, eggplants, potatoes. I said bell peppers already. I'm missing one. Those will always need eggplants. Did I say that one? Either way, all of those are heavy calcium eaters, right? So you can use those. And there was another one about tomatoes that I know Gray answered. Is it true to water your tomatoes plants a lot in your containers? As he said, they are heavy drinkers. Okay, they are like that one uncle that we all had. I used to have one. His name was Kerry Cool. Kerry Cool, as long as I ever saw him, he was never sober. And he would be like, "Hey, cousin," and he wore the same pants. So he had 3 of them since from the 80s until he passed. They buried him in all them pantsuits together. It's very sad to think about it, but he only had 3, and he was drinking all the time. He was sipping a little bit a lot. So think about it like that. They want that drink. They want that quench, because as we transition into the next topic, when you're growing in a container, you only have so much space, so much
Very true.
soil space, right? All of these planters I have around me, they drink so much water because not only are they all trying to grow and survive, but they themselves are trying to produce whatever they're trying to produce.
Yeah.
Fruit, seeds, flowers, whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to like Andre and them in their yard, how often are y'all watering? When y'all are watering like your fruit trees or just on average any of your plants?
Well,
Go ahead, Greg.
right now, because we got the heat dome going on in Texas. We about to start getting those triple digits. Triple digits are on the way, baby. So I do a lot of heavy mulching, but I water like maybe twice a week now.
Mm-hmm.
Usually in the spring, I'm only doing like about once a week. But now that we're starting to get in those really hot temperatures, I'm doing a lot of deep soaking, and I'm watering about twice a week. But now with my containers, I'm hitting those every day. I mean, I literally hit my containers every single day because they dry out so quick.
Wow. What about you, Andre? How often are you watering? Are you okay? You good? Because you was coughing a lot over there. I was trying to ignore it, but I was like, and my southernness is like, are you all right? But I'm trying to keep it chill.
But you know when you like that last little bit, you try to like gulp it and it just goes down the road.
I've had that happen.
I got it in my lungs.
Oh no.
But anyways, yeah. So most of my container plants, I try to water, at least a couple of times a week.
Mm-hmm.
We started to get a decent amount of rain here for the summer, but my established trees that are in the ground, I don't really water those anymore.
Awesome. And you don't need to because they're established, so they're already reaching down, right?
Yeah, they've reached the water table and they're pretty self-sufficient, so no amount of drought really bothers them. But the younger trees, when we do get those periods of drought, they really show the effects. I like Rio Skino said, Epsom salt is the GOAT.
I saw that. I immediately blocked him when he said it. As soon as he said it, I said block, report for aggression. Mark Zuckerberg is going to be hitting him up directly tomorrow. So those of you, because you're growing in the ground, this is the thing to consider, the science of it all. You're growing in the ground, they can reach into that groundwater at a certain point, and they don't need much. When it rains, they can reach into that rainwater, and they don't need as much when you're growing in the ground, in a raised bed, however it is. But in a pot, you have a limited amount of soil space, right? That limited amount of soil space is just that, limited. So an example can be when we were talking earlier, I came out here to water these plants that are right in front of me. These right here were bone dry. They can tell you. And I had to water them. I just watered them yesterday. Did a whole video. I was like, guys, I'm watering my plants. And I had to come and water these same things again because there's so much biomass, so much root space pulling in water, and it's so freaking hot here in North Carolina that I just have to keep on going, right? When it
Yeah.
has to keep watering, I have to keep on going. Like one of the questions we had above, they were asking, do we collect rainwater? I do not, because I cannot, even though it rains on my patio, it doesn't rain enough for me to collect rainwater. If I put a bucket out, it'll stop raining. It's the craziest thing. What about y'all?
I do. I actually do a lot of rainwater collection. And if you guys want to take a little trip with me, I can show you real quick.
Yes,
Andre, what
show
about you?
us.
Well, I don't collect rainwater. We can pump water from the lake, so the lake is my rainwater collector, I guess. But I want to say one thing about the plants. When you have them in containers, it's kind of like having a house cat, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when you have like them in the ground, it's kind of like a stray cat that you might feed every now and then because cat comes around for some food, but that cat is taking care of business itself, right? But the house cat has no other resource except you. If you don't give it food, then it gets nothing, right? You don't give it water, it gets nothing. You're the only resource that plant has.
Ooh,
Very
I
true.
like
Good
that.
point. That's a
I'm
great
definitely going to
analogy.
steal that.
All right, so this is my double
Ooh.
rainwater setup. These are 255-gallon food grade drums. My wife found them on OfferUp for like $10. The guy had already drilled in a spigot for me, so I was like, "Oh,
Well,
love that."
that's a good
What I
deal.
what I did is I just daisy chained them together so
Uh-huh.
that these two barrels are actually this 55 is all self-contained, so that when I run my water off of it, it actually levels out both barrels at the same time. So I have access to
Mm.
both barrels just by simply putting that little hose down there. And this is actually all just running off of my gutters that are filthy. But this is just running off of my gutters into some PVC right into my barrels.
I
Wow.
feel like that's so simple that anybody could just do that. Like someone could just look at that and figure out, hey, I want to do that and do it.
Yeah, I
Meanwhile,
mean,
my mind is blown.
Is there mesh? Is there a mesh
oh,
barrier
mesh.
going into them?
Yes, I actually did. Funny thing is, this mesh, this is just screen. This is screen you can get from Home Depot or Lowe's. It's not overly complicated. We don't have to muddy the waters, but that's all it is. It's just screen. And look, oh my goodness, mosquitoes have gotten in there and laid some eggs. So I need to clean that out. Didn't know that.
We love
Now,
that. So go ahead,
sorry.
Andre.
Oh, I'm saying like, there are things that you can put in for the mosquitoes. Like, can you just like put a drop of like I don't know, some of you use like oil or things like that will just sort of not allow the larva to hatch, or does it get
Yeah.
hot in the water?
Um, Derek has talked about this before. The dunks, right? Can I just
Dunk?
throw a dunk down up in there and that'll take
Yeah.
care of it, knock it out?
You can throw a dunk in there. With the oil, if you put an oil over the water, they can't break the surface tension to come up, so it interrupts the life cycle. Some people will say lemongrass, and I've seen people talk about that, but I've not seen studies to show that the lemongrass will actually prevent them. I know, like the smell of it can help prevent some stuff, but I try to go for me. I try to go off of the studies where I can. Um, and then what was the other thing? You could do like horticultural soap, something that keeps that water tension down.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, and we see a comment about rainwater not legal in all 50 states. I have seen some nuances with that, where it's like depending on your roofing and depending on like what you're using the rainwater for, that's where the nuance is in for some of the states.
Right.
Because if your rainwater is coming off of like an old, I think aluminum or something like, roof, or if your roof is like home to a bunch of birds that are using your home like a restroom, and then you're planning on watering food crops and selling it, then that's where that can sometimes be illegal.
Right.
That's true.
But you just have to be cautious and careful with what you're using your water with, right?
Right.
And go ahead, go ahead.
Now, I wanted to say, Andre, the funny thing about this, do you know that tutorial to set up that rain system I did 1 year ago on my first live call on Better Gardener?
Wow.
That was one of the first
Oh,
things I ever did. Yeah.
that's really cool. That's really cool.
And so, guys, if you're not familiar with Andre and I, we have Better Gardener is an online community where all the stuff we're talking about in these videos and on this live here, we actually teach you how to do this stuff in real life in calls. We actually talk about this stuff. So if you're interested in joining our community, it's a really tight-knit group. We talk at least twice a week, and everybody's like family and close friends there. So definitely DM either myself or Andre, and we can give you more information. But let you guys take it away.
Yeah, we love taking it away because that's a good way to get the community that is needed to grow these plants, right? And when you are getting these communities that are growing, you are making sure that you don't feel like a pest when you are asking each other questions. Some people don't want to feel like a pest. Some people don't want to feel like a bother. But here's what the buzz is about. I don't have a container of Sonia's. This is where I was leading to. I was like, maybe they'll get it, but I was like, they don't see my puns. There we go. Sonia's is our next sponsor. This, they tell me, is like putting on some lotion. Andre, can you talk about that real quick?
Like literally, like, I hate bug spray. And I'm not a huge lotion guy either. But I'll tell you what, if I have to go out somewhere where there's bugs, 100% I'm putting this on, and it kills two birds with one stone because you'll feel like you put a lotion on. Your skin will look like you put a lotion on. You're gonna smell like lemongrass. Like literally, you'll smell so good, and it does not feel like bug spray at all. And you will not get bitten by anything with this on.
And we
It really is
love
the
that
go.
I love that as a wasp just flew around me. I had to get rid of a nest this week. So jumping back into urban gardening, you want to consider the plants for the space. I will tell everybody, go to Cooperative Extension. If you are in these United States, you can look up in your county, whatever county you're in, Cooperative Extension, and see what plants you should be going for your space and for the place, right? When it comes to that, that is something that could be very specific for you. Me, Andre, Gray, we're in different parts of the world, right? And we're growing some of the same plants at some of the same times, but depending on our season, just who we are, we're not always going to be growing the same things at the same times. Andre and Gray are growing a lot more produce and vegetation and fruit than I can support on this patio. And I grow a lot of leafy greens. I can grow a lot of produce if I so choose. But I can't do fruit trees. I mean, I could, but I choose not to. So check that out, number one. Number two, set up your space for the place. I wish I was setting up a pot for you all to see, but a lot of these pots that I have here, I set up with soil that I have recycled and or was pre-mixed. And for those of you who are like, what soil you use? Whatever I get for cheapest or free. I'm not going to hold you. I worked at a company where I got most of this soil for free 99. Like most of this soil for free 99. I worked at a company. It was peat and I mixed it with other stuff that I bought, right? But you want to make sure you're setting it up. I am a heavy waterer. I grow a lot of plants. There's a lot of plants in this here container, right? A lot of different things in these containers. So I try to make my soil mix enough to hold water, especially during the heat of the summer, where when I'm growing like this, 1, 2, 3 sunflowers, a mullein plant, a valerian, some more bee balms, celoseas, and random other things that are popping up, they can be supported. And last, but certainly not least, get a good fertilizer. Well, not last, almost last. Get a good fertilizer that you can enjoy. I do like slow releases and liquids. I do both. I don't know if do y'all do both at the same time, slow releases and the liquids for fertilizers?
Well, with
I do one or the other.
fertilizers, go for it.
So I do one or the other usually. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
same here.
you don't live y'all don't live dangerously like me.
I feel like I'm ODing the plant if I'm gonna give them like both at the same time. I feel like I'm.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it
Go ahead.
feels like, for me, like, if it's something that's like a perennial, something that's going to be around for a while or biennial or something, yeah, I'm going to focus more on like my slow releases more than anything. But if it's like an annual, like your tomatoes and stuff like that, hey, I'm all about using some liquid, using some synthetics, because they're one and done, babies. We're not going to hold on to them. We're not going to sit there and squeeze the lemon too hard, as my brother Andre likes to say. You know, we just keep it moving.
That's right. We keep it moving. So I use both, right? And I know there was a question earlier about like, is Miracle Grow good? Whatever you can afford, I will repeat this until I go up to glory. Whatever you can afford is amazing. I have had phenomenal results with the cheapest fertilizers and some of the most pricey. It's all about your growing technique, learning that, using that fertilizer and being specific with it or smart with it, and just having a ball, right? This datura in this corner here, this datura stramonium, Jimson weed, beautiful plant, also known as angel's trumpet or devil's trumpet. The flowers I've been missing because it be hot, and by the time I get home, they're gone. They are just wilted and gone. This had a pot of, I hate these weeds, slow release, and there we go. We just throw them over the edge. Y'all don't see that. Don't tell my apartment complex. Don't tell them at all. This had both of these in there, slow release and a liquid, and I typically do that for everything. Why do I do that? Because again, I'm a show off, but more importantly, I'm a plant biologist. So I know my slow releases are going to slowly release, and I'm not going to fertilize all the time, but I kind of go off of a loosely made schedule of like fertilizer here, fertilizer there, right? And so we got a couple of questions that just came
Hold
in.
hold on, Derek, don't get triggered, because they said your magic word in the comments. Don't get triggered, brother.
I didn't see. Oh, I'm just now seeing that. I didn't go. I didn't scroll down. Somebody blocked that person. One of the mods blocked that
What they say?
person. When it comes to
What they
bee
say?
pollen, it's banana water. When it comes to bee pollen, I have not used bee pollen. I have sourced it locally. I know a local person I can get it from in North Carolina. For those of you in the Triangle, you can go to the farmers market at NC State's campus and get Bee Blessed Pure Honey, and they sell it. It's supposed to be able to prevent or help your body fight allergies, because if you're getting bee pollen local to your area, not just bee pollen from people shipped all over the world, but bee pollen local to your area, and then you're ingesting that pollen, the thought is supposed to be that it will help you to not be as aggressed by allergies. Have y'all used bee pollen before?
No, but I'll tell you what. I've kept bees before,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll tell you why I don't think that's going to help.
Tell us.
Because bees are very specific about the thing that they are going to collect pollen from. So once a bee has a strong source of pollen or a hive, they are going to solely collect that one thing.
Mm.
Now, once that thing is over, they'll move to a different type of plant. But if the 5 out of 1,000 plants that produce pollen are not the 5 that are causing you problems, that pollen, the bee pollen was made with, then consuming the bee pollen may not have much effect. I just think
Ooh.
the math is not really great in your odds. Now, if it's one thing, like let's say the major thing in your area is the thing that flowers, and that's the thing that causes your allergies or whatever, and the bees hone in on that one thing, and you get the pollen that was made from that time of year when that thing is flower producing pollen, then maybe yeah. But
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. You got any commentary, Gray?
Well, no, I'm just agreeing with Andre, because I actually heard that information confirmed by an allergist too. Like, yeah, no, it's something we say, but it's really like almost like a placebo. It really doesn't have any effect because, like Andre said, they're not hitting enough of the things that are actually causing you your allergies.
Yeah,
what
I
is
feel like you would need something beforehand, like versus doing an after effect. What were you going to say,
what is
Andre?
Jabaroma? Someone's asking, have you heard of Jabaroma
I
Mm.
think
from
this is a
Nature Jab?
person.
From Nature Jab.
Yeah, he's doing great things. I think it's a content creator.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Well,
I took
Jabaroma.
a screenshot. I'm gonna look this person up.
All right, I'll
yeah,
check
we'll
it
check
out
them
too.
out. Yeah.
Okay. Have y'all ever used fertilizer, compost tea for fertilizer, like bananas in water? What say y'all?
Listen, I know this one triggers you, but I'll tell you what, the next question is going to trigger me. But
The next, oh, trust me, the next one also triggers me. I'm gonna pass out here. Go ahead.
all right, I will say I am guilty of the banana water thing. That is one of the videos. The banana water video is one of the videos I made like 4 years ago, 5 years ago when I first started gardening. And someone gave me the tip. I tried it, and it seemed great. Because it's really hard when you just have a few plants. You really cannot come to any conclusions about really anything because
Mm,
it's not a study. You don't have a sample size to really know anything. So you put banana water in your plant, and your plant grows. You have no idea whether banana water made it grow or whether that plant was just going to grow anyways. So when I learned afterwards that the nutrients you get out of the banana peel are minimal and not bioavailable for the plant, then I stopped doing banana. I stopped making banana water videos as well because I real you learn and you learn new things and you should
exactly.
move on from your old beliefs. If your minds can't ever be changed, then you got a problem, right? But with new information, you should have new beliefs.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about you, Gray? You be
Well,
putting bananas in water?
I do not, because just like Andre said, I knew right out the gates that a banana peel itself is like 80% water. I was like, this thing is better in my compost. So honestly, that's what I do. I dice up because I love bananas. Bananas are fantastic. banana bread. My wife makes some amazing banana bread.
Yes,
But I
banana
cut
bread.
those peels up, throw it in my compost, and just go with it.
Let me tell you how nice of a person Gray is, okay? Because I remember when we started the school, and I mentioned banana water, and Gray is too nice to tell me that's stupid. Okay? Gray would say, "Well, it might not be like, the most intense form of fertilizer." like,
And
just say that's a
meanwhile,
stupid
if
idea, Dre.
you talk to a Derek, I'll be like, that mess don't work, and let me tell you why. Let
'Cause
me
I
go
know you would. I
into
know you would,
it.
Derek.
So compost tea I have done, right? I've done composting tea, like worms, that left over. I've done teas of that. Banana peel water does not work. Any plant peel in water, whatever plant peel you're about to type and be like, but what about cucumbers or any of the other peel? It doesn't work. Just compost it, right? Compost it. And let me tell you what we should also compost and get rid of. Dr. CB commentary. I'm just going to leave it at that. I want to say a lot more, right? But this is not the place where I go ballistic. But I will just say plants are medicinal, but they are never miraculous. When somebody tells you something is miraculously going to do this and that for you, just be careful.
Yeah, Dr.
Be
Sebi,
careful.
I will say it. Dr. Sebi was a con man.
Yeah.
A straight up snake oil salesman, fooled a lot of people, probably cost a lot of people their lives. So I'll leave it at that. And he says a lot of things that are provably false, just absurdly false.
And to jump back in, I was in some clubhouses back. Y'all remember Clubhouse when it was hot? There was a couple of doctors who remembered when Dr. Sebi came out, and that was around the AIDS epidemic, right? When it was called the gay cancer. And there were black queer people who had no other hope because this is just Pride Month, right? So some Pride history. People were not being respected and the community was being ran amok. People were dying. It was the thing that wasn't understood. And somebody said that they had the answer and people were just ran amok and died because of that. And that's where with any, just not Dr. Stevie, but any person who's like, these plants can do this for you. I'm like, no. And I had to censor myself, no to those people. We
Yeah.
still have Left
Yeah.
Eye if it wasn't for him. We still have TLC if it wasn't for him. But what other questions we got? Because she went to Honduras to see him. Let's see. How often do y'all fertilize? How often are y'all fertilizing? Because y'all said y'all do slow releases. How often are y'all adding other stuff for slow releases on top? How often are y'all doing
Depends on the plant for me. I mean, it does vary. I don't just, blanket fertilize everything. I honestly go based off the plant schedule. But I mean, that's me. But I go based off my plant. Like my tomatoes, I'm probably hitting them up every 2 to 3 months or so. Especially
that?
once they're
Okay.
fruiting and everything. Once they're setting fruit, I'm out there fertilizing again. My strawberries, I'm probably hitting them up once in the spring, once they start setting fruit, because once they're setting that fruit, they're going to need some more nutrients to set fruit again.
What about you, Andre?
I kind of when I remember. So so my fruit trees I kind of do like maybe twice a year, but my raised beds and depending on what it is, like things that are heavy feeders, like I know my peppers are gonna want a lot of food, corn, things that I know need a lot. I'm gonna try to remember to get them about every 3 to 4 weeks. I'll try
Mm-hmm.
to throw something in there for them, and it'll vary. Like I said, it depends on what people send me for free.
That free
I'm
99.
using it. If you send it to me, I'll use it. I'll even make a video. You know what? You know what's crazy?
What's that?
So I have a reasonable amount of followers, right?
Of
And my
course.
sister was like, "You should be like making money off this." And I'm like, "Really?" And like I don't know, TikTok send me like $200 a month or something like that. So,
I would
but she's
like
telling me,
$200 a month.
yeah,
I'm like just $200 a month. I'm sorry. We definitely gonna pull this conversation
right.
offline. Keep going.
but not life changing, right? But she's telling me that I should be like there's charts for the number of followers you have and how much you should charge to make a video. Like people send me like a bottle of like fish emulsion, I make a video for it. I was looking at the chart. I should be charging like between like $1,500 to like $2,500 for a video.
You
I
should, yes.
I'm not gonna tell you the numbers that I've heard other people talk because I'm gonna send you a voice note off after this. But yes, because I'm triggered right now, so I'm gonna change this
Like I'm
conversation.
literally like
Um,
I'm making a whole
I'm
video for a
literally
bottle of.
you are a very kind man. And I will say, leave it like that. And the people, I'm really serious. The people should be grateful for you because you got a real kind spirit. So when it comes to being kind spirited, this is where this urban garden, this patio garden, this small space solution is really it for me, right? This is my place of peace, right? I mentioned at the top of this, I had a friend that passed. I came outside, I sat outside. I forgot I didn't mention how often I fertilize. I do a heavy, like slow release at the beginning of the season around sometime in the spring. So like April, May, basically once I start planting. And then I'll do liquid fertilizers every so often. I don't fertilize nearly as much as I used to though, because I started using mycorrhizal and microbial inoculants, and we can talk about that in a whole nother episode. But they've allowed me to see that I don't need to heavily fertilize. A lot of us heavily fertilize, and you'll be surprised, even with that blue box of miracle powder, you can often cut that by half and still get some of the same results, unless you're like heavily like growing plants. Even with the plants I'm growing, and again, like there's a lot of biomass in this container. I'm not using nearly as much fertilizer as Derek several years ago used to. And I would get great results, but I'm getting just as great results right now.
Let me ask
And I've just
you a question.
adapted
What
how
do
I
you
grow.
think?
Go,
Sorry, cut you
go
off.
ahead, go ahead.
What do you think about like some sort of like just chop and drop in containers?
So I've actually kind of done that because I'm lazy. So a lot of these things just come out of laziness. This was like years of like old growth, old daylily stems, random
Right.
other things. I would just put them on top more for a mulch because they don't really, this pot specifically, like the soil level is like lower than it started off. I had it kind of up here and it's dropped a couple of inches because that's what happens in pots. Like for those of you who think your plants are eating pots, you're just watering it away. Or your plants are eating soil, you're just watering it away and it's like being washed out of your soil. And even with like some of the fabrics you can get, like I put a good fabric in this one. This one isn't washed away as quickly, but that fabric deteriorates over time. So eventually you're just going to lose soil. You just got to kind of pot them back up. But if I was doing like these planters, I would do that more here. But I also have to be mindful of like wasps or black widows or something else that may want to live in that area. If it's something like herbaceous and not woody, like these are sometimes more like herbaceous and soft and they'll just decompose, I'll do those. But the woody things I'll be careful with because I got rid of a wasp nest yesterday that was up here that was like a third of the way built. It was hiding in one of the pots here. I noticed there were wasps here. They don't bother me too much. I don't mind the wasps. But I was like, oh, I can't have y'all here. And between that and the bird that's trying to take his nest over here, and I've already gotten rid of one birdie baby mama in the past. I'll tell that story another day. It's well, two or three birdie baby mamas in my past on my patio. It's just something we have to keep in mind. So microbial inoculants, I use that. But coming back to this, because again, I can go off on tangents and come back. When it comes to this place of peace, I came out here after having a loss and I was able to sit here on my patio and just take in the view. And I sat right here in this chair and I was able to look around and see my greens and the sunflowers and see these things and see all the flowers I have here, touch the herbs, smell them, and be able to get like this aesthetic pleasing thing. When I get off of work some days and my sunflowers are smiling at me, it brings me joy. The people walk by, they're like, you have such a nice patio. And I'm like, I know, thank you, right? And I can give herbs away and do all this types of stuff. So it's a beautiful thing to me. It's a beautiful thing to me. We can sit out, right?
So
And
I
do our thing.
have a question for you.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'm all about peace and serenity too.
I
But
love
let's say
that.
hypothetically, if I was to start a new container garden on my patio,
Mhm.
what container should I go with? I mean, can I do terracotta, plastic? What works the best, in your opinion?
So it to me, it's what works for you and your watering, right? I really have a lot of plastic up here, but that's because those are the ones that are usually able to hang on railings. And once I started really maximizing my space, and that's the thing, you can see I have ones that are hanging on the railing. So these are big ones. These are maybe like 10 to 16, 20 to $20, right? Again, I got all the soil for free. These I bought in a pack of 3. I would tell you the brand, but they didn't want to collaborate with me, so they'll be nameless. But these were like maybe $30 for 3 of these. It was a great deal. It came with a kit to set them up, right? This one is a regular one, but I also have this like old, this is like 20 years old. It broke 20 years ago. I've been keeping it ever since. I have terracotta everywhere. I have wood. I have all of them. It just depends on what works for you. I prefer terracotta because I like the look. And especially indoors, terracotta just works better for me because it's porous and it drains. But outdoors, even though plastic doesn't drain, it can dry rot, right? And this wood
Yeah.
down here, these wooden planters, I had to replace one several years ago because it just dry rotted. It was already old when I got here, but it just dry rotted and just was basically nothing. It was just a nothing burger. And so it depends on what you can get. If you're going to get a plastic that's durable like this one. This one's been out for years. It's got a nice thickness to it, and it's not going to just dry rot. These are made to be outside. They're not just going to dry rot and break down, because the worst thing in the world is you come out here, you're touching your plants, you put your fingers on it, things just break away, and the next thing you know, they're falling apart, right? And they're shattering. And I've had that happen with plastic.
Yeah.
With terracotta, get a nice quality terracotta. You can get them off of the Facebook Marketplace. You can get a lot of this stuff secondhand, right? Somebody's just giving these away. I often, if you're in a triangle and you need little terracottas, like very small ones, I have a bunch of them. I can give you a bunch of pots and terracottas. But
Now, Derek, do the terracotta pots, do they get dry out really fast for you?
they do, but because I make my soil mix like different, I don't have much worries. Like I really make a heavy water holding soil
Okay.
mix for these. So like this one isn't as dry, but there's not a lot of plants in here. And I'm trying to think of a terracotta that I do have. I don't have any. This one on the end. So this one on the end is terracotta, but there's only one plant in it. It's big, but I watered that one yesterday. It's doing beautiful. These that are right here, these are plastic
Right.
over the edge. They're going to dry out.
Right.
And it's all about just what you're growing and even the heat, because the heat of the summer can just end up taking them. What's that there you got?
See, this is my terracotta here because I do a lot of containering too, and I
Uh-huh.
got some variegated lemon creep and thyme in here, and
Ooh.
it likes a lot of water. But I know with this terracotta pot, it's gonna dry out, so it's not gonna be sitting in that water for a long period of time. So honestly, I'll dump like a gallon of water in here in the morning, but I know give it a couple hours, this thing will be completely drained out. So yeah. But when it comes to containers, I'm gonna be honest with you. I grow in anything I can get my hands on. I am
Same.
not biased to growing in anything. I used to do mason jars, old Tupperware, and then my wife started saying, "Where's all my Tupperware going?" Like, don't worry about that. So I really try to grow in anything I can.
Y'all are growing dragon fruit, right? Don't both of y'all grow dragon fruit?
Yes.
I don't. I think Andre does.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I have several different varieties of dragon fruit.
Can you talk
Actually, I have
about that?
Oh yeah, it's pretty easy to grow, and it's a great container plant. And you can actually grow it from seed as well. You can get a grocery store one. I probably wouldn't advise it because they're usually not the best tasting dragon fruits in the world. But if you can get like a cutting from a known variety that's actually a good tasting variety, they grow really fast. And within a year or two, you can have it flowering and have fruit. Some places you have to hand pollinate them, but they grow mostly really well in pots. Actually, the majority of my dragon fruit that are in my garden are potted. It also helps in
Mm.
building a trellis, because you can get this thing that goes in the pot at Home Depot or Lowe's, and you can put a 2x2 fits right into it. So in the center of the pot, a 2x2, it's round and it's a brace for a 2x2. So that kind of gives you the base for your dragon fruit trellis right there.
We love it. We love it. So I wanted to give somebody gave a correction in the comments. I love corrections. So they said herbs don't want, oh, they did say herbs want dirt. I misread that. They can hold some moisture. Here's the thing. Some herbs don't want a lot of moisture. So like rosemary and lavender don't want what they call wet wheat. This is why I don't grow them anymore, because I tend to overwater all my plants indoor and out. This is a mint, berries and cream. I talk about it all the time because I love it. It smells delicious. I wish we had smell-o-vision. What you were going to say? You look like something was coming to you, Andre.
No, I was actually yawning.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was like, he loves it. I was like, he wants to smell it too. This is my bee bombs. These just came up. There's some that just don't want a lot of liquid on them. And that's where you kind of have to take a little nuance to what we're saying for your area, for your space, and for your place. Somebody also talked about companion gardening and planting. I do that not really. You can talk about interplanting. You can look up companion planting, cooperative extension. I've done that before, trying to find like specific things to talk about the legitimacy of it. For those of you who don't know, companion planting is like growing plants together that can give each other a benefit. So like I grow these peanuts and they fix nitrogen in the soil, and then I grow other plants and that do it. Do either of y'all companion plant?
Yes, yes,
Yes. Oh,
definitely.
Ooh.
heavily.
Um, yeah, with marigolds, onions, herbs. All those things help sort of. I believe that the main benefit of it is masking the scent of your plants that you want to keep insects away from. Because if you have a whole field of, let's say cabbage, cabbage moths probably smells cabbage pretty good, but they might not smell cabbage if there's, onions and there's rosemary and there's marigolds
Garlic.
and there's all kinds of other scents sort of blocking that, confusing it.
We love it. We love it. So let's see. We got this. You need help with your lavender. It won't grow. What more I could ask for? Send me or one of us a DM about your lavender, and we can talk about it because we need to know specifics.
Yeah.
What is that there? Is that your lavender?
That's lavender. I'm
Talk
gonna say the best
about it.
thing for lavender is put it in the ground and leave it alone. It is a drought tolerant plant. Now this is specifically is Spanish lavender, I think, that I'm growing right here. Stop babying it. Just like we were saying before, a lot of times you want to treat it like a houseplant or you want to treat it like an ornamental. Don't. It is a drought tolerant plant that likes to just kind of be left alone to do its thing. This is 2 seasons old here, and it's completely bushed out. And I started propagating several lavenders off of it. Let me see if I can find my props.
I
There's prop
love what you're doing there.
1, and then prop number 2 coming on. Same with your rosemaries. Your rosemary and your lavenders, they are Mediterranean plants that don't like to be babied. Leave them
They
be.
really don't. Can you
Someone,
talk about goji berry, Andre?
yeah,
Or what were you going to
someone
say?
mentioned goji berries. Also, I grew goji berries. One of the first things that I grew because I just wanted to grow everything I could get my hands on. You should probably try goji berries before you start growing them because they are medicinal. They are
Okay,
medicinal.
what you mean?
They are medicinal. That's all I can
Okay.
say. They are not a snack.
Oh,
They are not a snack that you just want to eat for the hell of it. They are medicinal. So
okay. I didn't know that. So, quick answers to the questions. Yes, you can grow lavender in the container. And your covered patio, if it gets like 6+ hours of sunlight, good sunlight, bright sunlight, then yes, you can grow them on your patio. Otherwise, just grow them like out in the light. So goji berry, like when you say medicinal, so it doesn't, because I thought I've seen snacks or something that were like goji berry flavor. What does it taste? Does it taste? So it tastes like NyQuil or something?
it shouldn't be a flavor. Let's just put it that
Okay.
way. It should not be a flavor. It has no right being a flavor. It needs to be flavored by something. Yeah, yeah. So I don't know why anyone would want goji berry flavored anything. It's just not. There's a mosquito in here. Damn it.
You see, and this is why we're gonna use that Sonia. And see, it felt Andre, that mosquito got you a little upset, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't know why it's in there. There's no reason for a mosquito to be in
Did
there. I mean, I'm trying to get some land on me.
it's making you a little
There we go.
upset?
It looks like it
A
is.
little bit.
It's
Yes, I'm getting
making you'll be getting
hot.
a little
I'm
hot.
getting a little hot.
Like
I
your
think I
hot
am.
pepper
Like a
sauce.
sweet
Like
and
that hot
spicy
pepper
right here.
Like your hot
And
pepper sauce.
our final sponsor for the show is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce, Andrethefarmer sweet and spicy pepper sauce. It is absolutely delicious. It's all natural. You can see this bottle's getting down to the end. We are actually at the very end of our inventory. We put in another order for 3,600 bottles we're making again. It's the
Ooh.
biggest order we've made so far, but we are down to almost none left. So
Whoa.
get yours while you can. But the next order we're supposed to be having a run this week or maybe next week. But we might run into a little gap where there's a shortage, and you won't be able to get any. So get yours now.
Get it
That's
while
right. You
you
don't want to
can.
because it's about to be sold out. And then when you say 3,600 more, how long does it take if they miss out? Like how long does it take for that to come back?
Well, it might just be a week or two. It
A
won't be
week
that
or two. I was thinking, I was hoping it was going to be longer. I thought it was
long.
going to be like months.
It'll
Y'all
be
don't need to
six
wait that meat.
months.
Y'all don't need to wait a week or two because you got to eat now. Okay. You don't have to eat better tomorrow because you can eat better today. And go ahead. That's EBT for those of y'all that didn't put that together. I'm very funny. When it comes to that, you can get your stuff and eat and get you some pepper sauce. You pay real cash for that and go for it. I'm not telling you to trade your stamps, but I used to. So when it comes to this, we got the last 5 minutes of us talking about container gardening. Y'all have watched the sunset with me. Wasn't this peaceful? Being out here on the patio? Wasn't this great? So gardening out on your patio, my God, there's so much you can do. There's so much you can grow. Don't let somebody or yourself even stop you from growing just because you don't have a lot of space. I grew a watermelon out here a couple of years ago, a
How do I
whole watermelon.
how do I reply to a comment? Wait a minute, I'll just say W dial. It's not super hot. There's a hot version and there's a not so hot version. There's sweet and spicy. There's a very sweet and spicy. But
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
there we
honestly
go.
the best pepper sauce I've ever had. Real talk.
I love
Real
that. So then
testimonial.
we love a real testimonial. So
have you tried it? Have you tried it yet, Derek?
you remember you were like you were going to send me some, and then you went on the trip.
Derek, send me
That's
your
why you
address.
asked. I I I'm gonna send it to you again. See, we're doing this. This is a running joke, y'all, because he remembers that I sent him the address the last time. But see, he's telling you that y'all about to miss out on the bottle that he's gonna send to me. See, if
No,
y'all need to,
no. I
y'all are gonna have
swear,
to order.
there,
This is
there. Do you check your mail? There has to be a box there for you.
look if it's in the mailbox, then I'll check in there. But the because they could have put it in the mailbox, but usually the mail people hate me. What's this we about to see?
Somebody in the comments was asking about pineapples in a pot.
Oh
This is
yes.
my container of pineapple. This is my Mila
Oh,
Pink
that is
pineapple.
beautiful.
Ooh, that is
Mila Pink.
gorgeous.
And she's got one, two, I want to say three pups growing off of her. Yeah, three pups. So I'm thinking about separating those
Wow.
pups. I don't know, Andre. You're the pineapple guy. Should I
I,
separate
You
those
I would
pups
are.
out?
separate them. I would separate them because it's such a rare pineapple that I would want to maximize the amount of pineapples and the amount of pups they can produce going forward. So I would
Hmm.
separate that. My regular pineapples that are in bunches, I leave them alone because I have like a million of them. But that I would
Hmm.
separate.
Okay. I mean, because, it's been, I can't eat pineapple because, I've been growing this thing for a year now, Andre.
Yo, get a cage. Make a cage for it.
Hmm.
You got to get
Oh, yeah, for
one of those
sure.
dollar store waste baskets. Make a cage. Put a little chicken wire on top. Because right when that thing's ready to eat,
Oh,
there's
that.
gonna be other critters that know it's ready to eat too.
Look,
Yeah, either them
because all that
four-legged
back
here, them
there,
two-legged
all
here.
them raccoons and everything
Oh,
back there, they'll come and
raccoons will
visit.
tear it up. Miss
Oh,
D's, we do this every Monday night at 8 p.m. right here. Eventually, and all the replays are all on YouTube, on my YouTube page. Actually, if you go to you, or actually, it's on all of our pages as well, on our regular
Yeah.
Instagram pages as well. So yeah, so if you want to see the past episode, this is what is this, episode 8,
This is, I think, 9. Yeah.
it's either nine
episode
or 10. We've
9.
done this for a while.
Yeah, 9.
Yeah,
Yeah, because 8 was
I can't
when you
believe
were
it
in
already.
Dominica.
Yeah, Dominica, but close enough.
Dominica. Sorry.
So we love this. So I see, because I was like, why is he responding to people? The comments stopped working on my end party
Oh,
people. That's why I stopped responding to you all. And so, we got a couple of minutes just to, what's some final words you'd give to people who are considering or doing container gardening?
let me
You
answer one more question
go
first.
ahead.
How do you
Yeah.
separate those pups? All you gotta do is give them a little twist. They pop right off, and then you stick them in dirt. That's it. Super easy. But go ahead, Gray. You answer the question.
So, advice I'd give you for container garden. Look, get out there and grow something. If you live in an apartment, if you live in a condo and you have a patio, you have space. If it gets sun, you can grow something out there. You say, hey, Gray, I want to grow bananas. Guess what? You can do dwarf bananas. Hey, Graylin, I want to do citrus. Guess what? I got blood orange growing on my deck right now. Now, granted, I know I do live in a home, but this is still container and patio garden. So go out there, experiment. Get you some citrus, some Myers lemons. Those are dwarf varieties. You can do it. Strawberries, all of that can be done. So I say go for it. Don't. The only thing you can't do is what you tell yourself you can't do. And if you need help, hey, we're here to help.
We show is. What about you, Andre? What would you tell
Okay.
people?
One thing I want to answer. One more question. She
Mm-hmm.
asked, "Can when your pineapple grows, do you need to transplant to a bigger pot?" No. A regular sized pot, like it's yay big, can hold a pineapple all the way to maturity. They don't have massive roots. You can grow in a pot. But I tell people when they're starting gardening, even container gardening, what they should grow everything you can get your hands on. So, like Grace said, any container that you can put soil in that container, that's a pot. Drill a couple holes in the bottom, it's a pot. And just plant as many different things as you can. Some of it will grow, some of it will die, some will work, some won't. I just planted some durian seeds, which I've never seen a durian tree in North America. However, I planted durian seeds, and 2 of them have sprouted now. So I'm excited about that.
Wow.
Awesome.
And
That is
yeah,
awesome.
and I think to wrap it up, grow what you can, grow what you eat, grow what you love, or grow what you wish to see. Because you will be surprised what happens when you decide to grow. This has been the Dirt on Gardening. Again, share this, comment, subscribe, like, share, all the words. Y'all know what to do. We will be back here on next week, 8 p.m. Eastern and the Standard Time. I'm the Chocolate Botanist. I,
I'm Urban Gardener with Gray.
Andre the
and
Farmer.
we'll see y'all soon.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye bye.